Hello and welcome to another edition of Stock Watch. So as we get into the trading week, we're looking at Zoom's earnings season as they actually beat Wall Street expectations, but their shares actually dived down by over 3% because of the fact that they're looking for a major slowdown as the economy gets back into normality after the pandemic. It's slowly being phased out in a lot of countries, and there's going to be more face-to-face meetings rather than Zoom communications or voice over internet protocols meetings like that we saw in 2020 and most of 2021 as well. So let's just take a look at the numbers first of all. So they came in at $1.11 per share, adjusted for $1.09, and revenue at $105 billion against $102 billion. But as I said, this did not stop the stock from actually ending lower in yesterday's trading session. And Zoom has actually retreated a whopping 28% this year alone, as obviously investors anticipated slowing growth as the economy normalizes back to it was before the pandemic actually started. And it does face a tough year-on-year growth comparison after the coronavirus pandemic did actually first hit. So we'll see what is going to be in store for Zoom for the rest of the year at least. And you have to think of as Zoom did actually magnify and move quite swiftly high as soon as the pandemic hit, we've seen quite a big fall from grace for the company as well in stock prices. So let's just see what the consequences are. And another story I just want to highlight is Apple. After their stock jumped over 3%, so it's a bit of a role reversal from Zoom after they have been focusing their project around full self-drive capabilities of their electric car that is pushing for development in by next year at least, and they have a strategy of prioritizing production and shipment of their iPhone 13 models so that there's no delays for the holiday period in the US especially. So that's made their stock jump quite significantly as well. So just looking on the stocks, and as I said, Zoom have seen a magnificent decline in their share price for most of the year. This is just from the middle of the year. If we look back at the beginning of the year, around this area, you can see the magnificent fall that Zoom has had. Obviously, more companies are getting back in the office, more face-to-face meetings, and less need for more membership fees or upgrades to Zoom technology that they have actually, how they make their money. So as you can see here, a big fall, very far descending channel as well. So we'll see what comes into fruition there, and obviously using the Ichimoku cloud indicator as well, just to see get some ideas of some opening and closing positions. As you can see here, we're having very heavy resistance on the bottom border of the cloud, and now we are looking to see what the consequences are for that. If we look on an intraday scale, on the 4 hour, obviously we have this large gap that was never filled, and now we are looking to the downside at least. Not too much in the way of divergences on the RSI as well, which could mean that the price action will continue to the downside for some time, especially until the end of the year. If we do get another big wave of coronavirus infections like we're seeing in Europe at the moment, if this spreads to the rest of the world, then we could see a pickup in Zoom technology stock. However, at the moment it is looking very vastly to the downside as well. Next level I'll be looking at is probably 230, big psychological zone there, and then we'll see if we can start pushing further lower into that spell as well. Any chance of an uptick for me, we'll just be looking to see if we can break this previous heavy resistance level, roughly about 260, for another turn to the upside, but it's looking very unlikely anytime soon. And Apple as well, as you can see, just bring it out on the daily chart first of all, we're seeing this big spike in stocks did end slightly lower, but as you can see, we did spike up to 165 yesterday, so that's quite significant as well. Excuse me. And as I say, we did have a bit of a hummingbird style action going on in the first place, where we had these peaks, a very big trough here, but now another big peak here, expecting a bit of a come down again to roughly about the 150 area before another move to the upside. And we'll see what happens with the signals on the RSI as well. As you can see here, it's a little bit bearish there after we saw this big spike. Obviously there's divergence here. However, looking at the overall picture, we could be seeing quite a vast accentuation in stock prices. It doesn't look like Apple are slowing down anytime soon. As I said before, we did have a bit of an uptick, a big high, but prices did fall by the end of the trading session. So it could have been quite a big sell-off by the end of that session, and we will see what happens when the market opens shortly and what the opportunities are. So that's all from the Stock Watch today. Thank you very much for joining me. Any comments or questions, as usual, please feel free to add them to the post, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great trading day ahead, and bye for now.